And here's part 2. Send your block to the machinist. That motherfucker. And this is called the block deck. It has deck surface which measures from the center line of the crankshaft. The very middle of that is called the center line, kids. Anyway, and you'll have like, I don't know how big the center line is, but it's a certain height. You need them to deck the block because it's not going to be flat anymore because it's been through a lot of heat cycles if you've never cracked the head open before. So they'll probably deck about 0.1 of a millimeter off there, which is like 1/10 of a millimeter. Very fine. You'll need the bores probably bored, the cylinder bores bored. So get them taken out to about 86.5, or actually get them to measure it first and tell you how big they need to make it. Probably be 86.5, which is the next size up. Stock is 8600. Get them to hone it, get them to diamond bristle brush it. Don't ask me what it does, I know what it does, but I'm not explaining it, because my videos take way too long. That's all you really need, is just deck it, bore, hone it, diamond bristle hone it, and get it chemically cleaned. When you get it back, paint it straight away, because it's iron, it's going to rust. I'm going to go with black, but you cunts can go with like pink or red or blue, green, I don't give a fuck. Take your crank down. I'd do this next. I'd get the block done first, get it crack tested as well. There's a thing called magnafluxing, ask them about it. All they do is they basically clean the block, and then they put magnets inside it, electromagnets, and they sprinkle iron powder all over your block, and then they blow it away with air, and they leave the magnets in there, like magnets on, and they blow all the iron powder away with air, and the iron powder is a certain colour, like they'll paint the block white with like a spray, and because iron's like a blacky steel colour, you'll be able to see it, so the iron sort of goes into the crack and they blow it away and they can see exactly where the crack is. If you've got a cracked block, don't use it. That'd be pretty fucking devastating if you start building a motor and it's split in half. Next thing, I'd probably go with balancing the crank. Check this motherfucker. First, get it blueprinted. I'm doing blueprinting all through this motor. It's basically squeezing every ounce of power you can out of this motor through tolerances, like measurements. So, get a set of micrometers. We'll go into it later. But, you're going to need, I'm just telling you what you're going to need so far. And then later on tonight, when I've actually got some fucking time to do these videos, I'll do it with you. But, you get your workshop manual out, it'll tell you the specifications of these. This is called a crank main journal. The throw on this rod is, I think, it's like 87 millimeters from the center line out. So double that and you'll have like 160, I don't know, something like that. But it's a decent throw. You can tell it's a forged crank. Well, look at this. RB30 cranks come out stock forged. Most cranks are cast. So we're already off to a win. Have a listen. This doesn't really hurt at doing this. I'm getting the crank ground anyway. Listen to the ring. Still ringing. A cast block will ring for a couple of sets. Like it'll be like ting, and that's it. Forged is 10 times stronger. That's not actually a fact, but they're stronger. That's why a lot of people don't ever buy cranks for these. They all use stock cranks. Like nearly every single RB30 turbo will use a stock crank. Even people making like 700 rear wheel horsepower will use a stock crank. Might get it nitrated, which is, I'll go into it later, but they're pretty fucking tough units. But yeah, basically we'll be measuring these in the next video, and we'll start our blueprinting with what we have of the motor so far. I'll go into later in the next video about what blueprinting is and how it can benefit. Probably send the head off, and you're going to be getting that blueprinted as well. So get them, send it off, and the first thing you're going to need is tell them to deck the head. So they'll probably take as much material off, it's aluminium cast. They'll take as much aluminium off as they need with a deck surfacing machine until it is flat as fuck. And fuck is pretty flat. And then we'll go into blueprinting. But start sending stuff away. Start fixing stuff that is fixable, like your distributor and your water pump and shit that's actually still in okay condition and can be used. And then, start buying stuff. Start buying, I don't know, not bearings and pistons and shit, but spark plugs, distributor, coil cap, distributor cap, distributor rotor, leads. Fuck, I don't know. Buy a camshaft if you want. You probably don't buy anything like that, but buy shit that you might need. I don't know, little bits and pieces to keep you happy. Like, I could make half my stuff. I'm a fitter and turner by trade, so I can make all sorts of shiny stuff. I made that at work. It's a throttle linkage cable. So, you know what your throttle... You have the car on this little cable made out of wire that runs forward and back. That thing's just a supporter, so I like it because it's shiny and stuff. But keep doing stuff like that. Keep buying stuff. Read up, research. A little bit more of that. I was terrible in school, but well, you can buy stuff like once you got your deck back, your block back. Like there's minimal stuff you can Bluetooth on the Bluetooth. You can. Now I've forgotten the word. Blueprint on a block. Once you get it back, yeah, you might get an inside micrometer. Go into this later on, and measure your bores and make sure that the machine shop has properly done a decent job. But you can buy stuff like thermostat, billet thermostat housings. You can look on eBay for your stuff because there's decently cheap stuff. Clean your sump. That doesn't really need any special stuff. This thing's called Shellite. It's like brake cleaner. Do not breathe it in, it's pretty bad. But it dries really quickly and it really eats grease away. So like, yeah, clean your sump. Clean anything that's really fucking oily that you have to reuse and doesn't need any machining. Start storing it. Start stocking up on stuff. Like these. They're stainless nuts and bolts. They're Allen heads as well. Like that. And they're of decent grade as well. I remember putting them on because they're shiny. I really couldn't give a fuck if I had like zinc plated shit. But they're shiny. So, yeah, start bolting stuff back on your motor. Once you get your motor back, you can bolt your thermostat on. Put Welsh plugs in the fucking thing. Don't put your crank on or anything like that because you're gonna don't need to. Paint it. Anyway, I've had enough of this video now. I'm gonna start making one later. But yeah, you can order like filters, pod filter, oil filter, unless you're doing like an oil reservoir or a dry sump, which I'm not really gonna need making 300 real kilowatts, which is my goal. Start cleaning stuff. You can clean your inlet plenum. I don't know. Hey. Anyway, part 3 will be 10 times better.